All right. LDMMAC. This is your boy, the Coach. You're live on the Coach Show, the Coach Show live. Hey guys, do me a favor. Please excuse the background noise. Okay, please excuse that. Guys, I'm gonna really just dive into this video. And everybody's seen the video, or everybody's seen like the press conference where Israel Adesanya, he defended Joe Rogan. Okay, he defended Ho Rogan. He defended him. And, guys, whenever black people are disrespected, okay, anytime black people are disrespected, anytime, you can expect the racists to come out in drones to defend the person that disrespected black people. I mean, that's expected. That's just something that's just going to happen no matter what you do, no matter what you say. Racists, they're going to come out and they're supposed to defend the people who disrespect black people. That they're supposed to. That's their job. Okay? I would not expect anything less of a racist. But you have other people that will defend Ho Rogan. Now you'll have other non-blacks that'll defend him, okay? But you're gonna get black people that defend Ho Rogan as well. And see, anytime a racist person they come out, and I'm talking about they really come out, you always get a couple of high-profile black folks that will support the racism. They'll support the racism. Guys, have y'all noticed in any other culture, any other race, when they're disrespected, they don't support that person anymore. In fact, they cancel that person. They get them out of there. Honestly, do you think that if Ho Rogan would have made, let's say Asian racial slurs, think Asian people would support him? Hell, Asian people wouldn't even go on the show. Do you think if he made, any kind of slurs about Brazilian people, those people, they would have canceled him. They would have had no more dealings with him. Or even Latinos. If he made any Latino slurs and said them over and over and over again. So you know why people like Ho Rogan don't make those kind of slurs? Because he knows that those people can be offended. And he also knows that when they are offended, things begin to happen. But see, Ho Rogan knows that when black people are offended, it's okay. Because some of the brothers and some of the sisters, they're going to stick up for me anyway. They're going to stick up for me. They're going to support me. I'm going to have people in that race that will stand by what I said. So no matter what I say about black people, I'm going to have support on all levels. See, this is the mentality that Ho Rogan has. So now you got this buffoon, Israel Adesanya, who, honestly, he does a lot of questionable things. He sexually assaults his opponents in the middle of the octagon. Yeah, he does that. Now, could you imagine that if he'll do that after a fight when a person is incapacitated? What would he really do? Now, that's food for thought. And yes, it's a sexual assault. Okay? When Paulo Costa is incapacitated, he goes over, dry humps him. How does that play out? Marvin Vittori, or it was somebody else that he did it. It might have been Vittori. Okay? And somebody in the comment section correct me, okay? It goes over, dry humps that guy. You see, the thing of it is with Israel Adesanya, okay? He's a token. And see, he's going to be the high-profile black person that's going to, stick his neck out. And, he's going to defend Ho Rogan. But here's the thing, though, okay? See, Israel Adesanya, you don't get to speak for black people. You don't get to speak for black people. You don't get to. You don't get to because, dude, you've been living in Australia. You've been a Kiwi for all these years. Okay, you've been tucked out, you've been hidden away, okay, away from, a whole lot of stuff that happened here in America, okay? You don't get to speak for black people. And in fact, it's an insult to him when you compare him or you group him in a category with black Americans. So I'm definitely not trying to hear that. Okay, this guy don't want to be grouped with black Americans. So guess what? He's going to come out and say, yeah, I defend him. Now, let Ho Rogan had, offended Africans. The Africans, I'm talking about Africans. Straight from the motherland Africans. How much you want to bet? How much do you want to bet that he'd have something to say. And he'd be ready to cancel Hulk Hogan. See, nobody really cares about offending black Americans. And black people in general, but, primarily black Americans. Nobody really cares about that. Because that's the norm. That's the norm because, people like Hulk Hogan, they know, well, if I do anything, black people, they're not going to say anything. If I do anything, black people, they're just going to go with it. Nobody's going to do anything. What are black people going to do? They're going to protest. Black people will protest, but nothing's going to happen. They're not going to pull their money, from my show, or they're not going to stop watching my show. They'll still keep watching. Hell, there's black people in the comment sections that's talking about, I like the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. I love that podcast. Man, I love it. That podcast is great. I like listening to it. So he knows. Hulk Rogan ain't stupid. He know who he can offend and who he can't offend. Think about it. All these people that saying, well, he ain't racist. Well, folks, why is it that the only race that these people say, well, I'm not racist? The only race that they seem to want to offend is black people. Guys, honestly, can y'all find any audio clips of him offending Latinos, Asians? Okay? I can't find it. Russians, Brazilians. Can y'all find those clips? I can't find them. I searched. This man ain't offending no other race. But man, look, the only people he chooses to offend are black people. Or he chooses to talk about the N-word in context because he's telling a story. I done heard him tell stories about Asian people. I done heard him tell stories about Latino people. Not once does this guy ever use an Asian slur or a Latino slur to actually put the story in context. Only when he's talking about black people that you got to use the N-word. And then really, if you say, well, he's using the N-word out of context, guys, you can't explain the Planet of the Apes. Guys, you can't. And so Israel Adesanya don't care. Hey, you know what? I don't care if he thinks that I look like an ape. I don't care if he thinks that I look like an ape. I don't care. And then, even Israel Adesanya goes on to say, that's my N-word, to add insult to injury. See, here go the thing, man. When you have guys like Israel Adesanya, you got guys like him, man, you have to immediately, you got to pull your support. If you're a black person, you have to pull your support. You can't support this guy. There's no way in hell that I'll ever, and I was already kind of off the bandwagon when, he kept, taking his opponents and while they knocked out or they incapacitated, he'll go behind them, man, and then start dry humping them. See, I was kind of already off that, and I kind of wasn't feeling that. But now I'm completely off the bandwagon now. You can forget. Me, the only way I'll make a video about him is if he lose. Okay, that's it. And if you notice, there's a lot of other black fighters. Now, some black fighters, they're going to defend him, but a lot of black fighters, they're not defending this crap. They're not defending this. I don't even think Francis Ngannou, I look for Usman, I look for Ngannou, I look for Angela Hill. I look for them, and I think Angela Hill probably might defend it because she was on the show. She probably might because she was on the show. Daniel Cormier might defend him because he worked with him. And I'm telling y'all, man, how much y'all want to bet that Hulk Rogan, he called DC and he said, hey, DC, listen, man, I just want to put into context, man, what happened, man. Because I don't want you to think anything, man, about me, man, because I'm not racist. I'm not that way. And of course, Daniel, he said, no, man, Joe, hey, man, I get it, man. They probably all, they're overlooking it. They ain't gonna forget it. Guys, even at the press conference, when Israel Adesanya said, hey, Hulk Rogan, that's my N-word. Everybody up on the stage, they found that comical. They found that amusing. Why? Even Dana White was laughing. Because Dana White is staying on code. He's not going to fire Hulk Rogan. And for those of y'all calling for Joe Rogan's job at the UFC, he's not going to do that, man. Dana White is on code. He on code. He on code with the rest of the races. Now, Dana White is probably not going to be dumb enough to actually say the N-word or have himself in a conversation saying it. See, Dana White would probably say that in the privacy of his own home where he know ain't nobody recording him. But he ain't going to be dumb enough to say it out in the open. Nah. But see, Hulk Rogan was stupid. He said it on the podcast. it's got about 12 million followers. He said it on the podcast. And he said it over and over and over and over. Rogan, he not sorry, man. He started that somebody just finally said, you know what? You've been getting a pass for this for years. You've been getting a pass, and somebody finally called him out, and somebody finally put him up to the like they put him to the fire. They put him to the fire. They finally called him out. Israel Adesanya don't speak for black people, man. Okay? Israel Adesanya don't speak for me. He don't speak for black people. I'm sorry, he can't do it. He can't do it. This man been in Australia for years and years. I mean, look, Israel, you don't know about the politics in America. You don't even understand how black people are treated in America. You can't. You can't. So you live in a magical world of make-believe, okay, where everything is fair and everything is equal. Well, over here in America, that's not how it works. Black people are getting murdered by people like Rogan calling the N-word. And right before that black person died, the last thing they hear is you an N-word. This is happening every day in America. Israel Adesanya don't speak for me. I'm telling you, he don't speak for me, okay? He don't speak for me. I promise y'all. Guys, I promise you. Let Rogan say something about Africa. Let him say something about Africa. I promise you. I bet you he won't be so supportive. I bet you he won't be so supportive. I guarantee he won't. There's no way. See, he'd rather keep that friendship with the racist. He'd rather keep that friendship than to actually pull support of a racist. You don't empower racists, you starve them. You don't empower a racist, you starve them. And you make the racist understand that you can damn sure say what you want to say. You can say whatever you want to say. But no matter what you say, there are consequences. There are consequences, okay? The consequences of racism is you lose it all. That's the consequences of saying something racist. That's the consequences of having that lifestyle. See, you have so many racists like Rogan. They don't care. They don't care about their wife and their kids. They don't care about their income. They don't care about any of that. All they care about is the ideology because they believe in it so much. They believe that ideology so much that it's worth every single solitary thing they own. It's more important than anything that they have because this is what they believe. They believe in this. They believe in it and they sell out completely. You see, people like Rogan, they'll never be broke, okay? If he lose money or if he lost it all, there'll be millions of racists that'll start a GoFundMe account for this guy. And they'll support him. They'll start a GoFundMe and they'll support him. They'll support this guy in every aspect of life. Folks, racism is real. But the people that control the racism, they're the ones that have all the control. It's just what it is. But see, you have some control. And the control that you have is that you don't have to support the racist person. See, if more people, and especially black people, we can have a repeat of the damn Montgomery, Alabama boycott with Rosa Parks, with the bus. If you stop supporting entities that are racist towards your own, if you just stop doing it, you starve them financially. You starve them financially. And what are they going to do? They're going to come running back and they're going to start apologizing and they're going to start, they're going to stop making the racist comments. They're going to stop making the racist comments. See, they're going to think twice before they hit sin. They're going to think twice. They're going to think twice, okay, before something slips out of their mouth. Hell, they'll even think twice before they get on a phone call and they want to be racist. Well, Israel Adesanya, here's another one. Here's another one. But, I mean, did anybody expect Israel Adesanya? I mean, did you expect him to stay on code? Some kind of code? No, he ain't gonna do that. He ain't gonna do that. Okay, that's not in him. But I tell you, see, every time, and I'm gonna end it with this. Every time somebody black defends a racist that don't like his own people, every time, that black person will always, always have the story flipped on him. And those racists, they will turn on him. It always happens.